All right, get ready, because we are diving into the world of mainframes. You guys specifically requested this deep dive, wanted to know why this, well, supposedly ancient technology is still so important today. And let me tell you, it is way more interesting than you might think. Forget about, those clunky machines gathering dust in some forgotten corner. We're talking about systems that can process, get this, 1 trillion secure web transactions every single day. Yep, that online order you just placed, that latest bank transaction, even booking a flight, chances are a mainframe was working its magic in the background.
You're absolutely right. It's fascinating how mainframes have kind of become this hidden powerhouse of the tech world. Most people, they don't realize just how deeply they're intertwined with our daily lives, quietly and reliably powering so much of what we take for granted.
Exactly. So we've got a stack of articles here covering everything from like the history of mainframes to
Yes.
their role in, modern tech, AI, cloud computing, all that good stuff.
Right.
Our mission for this deep dive to uncover why the supposedly quote unquote outdated technology isn't just surviving but thriving in the 21st century. Like remember that prediction about the last mainframe being unplugged in 1996?
Oh, absolutely. That prediction makes me chuckle now, especially as we're, staring down 2024. It just goes to show how much life, how much relevance mainframes still have. Seems like the obituary for this technology was wildly premature.
You can say that again. But before we get into all the cool stuff about AI and this whole zero downtime concept, let's start with the basics. For anyone who's not a tech whiz, how would you explain what a mainframe actually is? Like, imagine you're at Thanksgiving dinner and your curious but easily confused aunt asks you to explain it. What would you say?
Okay, so imagine a mainframe not as some big, scary computer, but as a super-powered data server. And this server is built for three things: speed, security, and handling absolutely massive volumes of transactions, all in real time. It's less like that dusty old computer in your grandma's attic and more like the super efficient, always-on engine room of a modern skyscraper.
I love that analogy. So it's not just about size anymore. Because I know those early mainframes were these behemoths that took up like entire rooms, right?
Yeah. You're right. The physical size has shrunk dramatically over the years. We've gone from those room-sized behemoths to systems that can be tucked away in a data center, some even comparable in size to a large refrigerator. But what truly sets mainframes apart is their internal architecture. They're designed from the ground up for maximum uptime and efficiency.
Uptime and efficiency music to any business's ears.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that a bit more for us? What's going on under the hood that makes them so good at this?
Absolutely. Mainframes have multiple processors all working in tandem, kind of like having, a team of expert jugglers all handling tasks simultaneously. They also have tons of memory and storage to handle, like massive amounts of data. And here's the kicker, they're built with redundancy in mind. Imagine a system where every critical component has a backup standing by, ready to jump in seamlessly if the primary one falters.
Okay, so that's starting to sound a lot like this zero downtime concept you mentioned earlier. But before we get into that, I want to rewind for a sec to this idea of redundancy. You're saying that even if one part of a mainframe fails, the whole system can just keep on humming. How exactly does that work?
It's pretty ingenious, actually. Think of it like this. Each critical component in a mainframe, whether it's a processor, a memory bank, or even a power supply, it has a twin. And this twin isn't just sitting there idle, it's actively mirroring the primary component's actions in real time. So if the primary component trips up, its twin can instantly take over without missing a beat. And most importantly, without any interruption to the system's operation.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a backup band ready to jump in seamlessly if the lead singer loses their voice mid-concert. No one even notices the difference.
That's a great way to put it. And this ability to, instantly and seamlessly switch to a backup component is called hot failover. And it's one of the key reasons why mainframes are legendary for their reliability.
Hot failover. I'm adding that to my list of cool tech terms. But let's talk about another crucial aspect of mainframes, security. I mean, we live in a world where data breaches are unfortunately becoming more and more common. So what makes these systems any better than others at keeping sensitive information safe and sound?
When it comes to security, mainframes are practically Fort Knox. They've got these built-in cryptographic cards that encrypt data, making it incredibly difficult for hackers to decipher, even if they manage to get their hands on it. And it's not just one layer of protection, it's multiple layers, working together like a high-tech security system.
So it's like having layers upon layers of security guards, each with their own specialized skills.
Exactly. And just like those security guards, Mainframes are constantly being updated with the latest threat detection software. They're always evolving to stay one step ahead of the bad guys.
Okay, so we've got these incredibly secure systems designed for maximum uptime, handling massive amounts of data. It's clear that mainframes are far from obsolete, but where do they fit into today's world of, you know, cloud computing and AI? Those seem like completely different realms of technology. How do those worlds collide?
That's a common misconception that mainframes and these newer technologies are at odds with each other. In reality, they complement each other quite well. Mainframes have evolved right alongside these innovations, and they play a crucial role in enabling businesses to harness the power of cloud computing and AI effectively.
Evolved in what way? Give us the details.
For starters, today's mainframes are built to integrate seamlessly with cloud platforms. They can handle the huge demands of cloud applications without breaking a sweat. Imagine them as the reliable backbone supporting the flexibility and scalability of the cloud.
So they're like the strong, silent type who can actually throw a killer party when needed.
Exactly. And it's not just about raw power. They bring their legendary security and reliability to the cloud party, too. This is especially important as businesses move more of their operations online, making security and reliability non-negotiable.
Right, because nobody wants their cloud party to crash or, worse, get hacked.
Hmm.
But what about AI? How do these systems, which were invented decades ago, contribute to something as, like, cutting edge as artificial intelligence?
Remember how we talked about mainframes being able to process like enormous amounts of data? Well, that just happens to be what AI thrives on. AI algorithms need massive data sets to learn and improve, and mainframes are the perfect platform for storing, processing, and analyzing those data sets.
So mainframes are like the ultimate AI trainers, feeding them all the information they need to grow and become smarter.
Precisely. And we're seeing this play out in the real world. For example, some financial institutions are using AI, powered by mainframes, to detect fraudulent transactions in real time with incredible accuracy. We're talking way beyond what human analysts could achieve alone. It's like having a superpowered detective working behind the scenes to keep your money safe.
That's mind-blowing. And speaking of behind the scenes, you mentioned earlier that a huge chunk of the world's IT operations rely on mainframes, like something crazy like 70%. That's a staggering number. So besides AI and cloud computing, where else do we encounter these systems in our everyday lives?
It really is mind-boggling, isn't it? It highlights just how pervasive mainframes are, even though most people aren't even aware of their existence. Think about the last time you used an ATM, booked a flight online, or even swiped your credit card at the grocery store. Chances are a mainframe was humming away in the background, processing that transaction with lightning-fast speed and that ironclad security we talked about.
So anytime I'm not carrying cash,
Yeah.
a mainframe is probably involved.
Pretty much. But it goes way beyond finance. Let's take healthcare, for example. Hospitals and insurance companies rely on mainframes to store and manage incredibly sensitive patient data. We're talking everything from medical records to billing information, a massive volume of data that needs to be handled securely and efficiently. And that's where mainframes truly shine. They're uniquely designed for that exact purpose.
That makes sense. Healthcare data is incredibly sensitive. But what about other industries? Surely not everything requires that level of, like security and processing power, right?
You'd be surprised. Think about government agencies. They rely on mainframes for everything from tax processing to national security applications. And let's not forget about the massive online retailers we all use these days. They wouldn't be able to handle those Black Friday surges and the sheer volume of transactions, inventory management, customer data, all of that. Not without mainframes working their magic behind the scenes. They're the unsung heroes of online shopping.
Okay, you've convinced me. Mainframes are practically holding our digital world together. But before we move on, I want to touch on one more angle. How these systems have evolved over time. We've talked a lot about their role in, modern technology. But what about their own journey? How have mainframes themselves changed over the decades?
That's a great question. Mainframes have gone through some remarkable transformations since their early days. If you were to travel back in time to like the 1960s, you'd see these massive room-sized machines with clunky punch cards, a whole team of technicians attending to them. It was a whole different era of computing.
It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
So how did we go from those behemoths to the powerful yet compact systems we have today? What were some of the key milestones in mainframe evolution?
Well, one of the biggest shifts was the move away from those cumbersome punch cards to more sophisticated input methods, like terminals and eventually the keyboards and monitors we're all familiar with today. And remember when we were talking about hot failover earlier? That wasn't always a standard feature. Early mainframes didn't have that level of redundancy. But as the technology advanced, so did their reliability and ability to seamlessly handle failures. Another major milestone was the development of more powerful processors and increased storage capacity. This allowed mainframes to process even larger volumes of data at faster speeds, which is crucial in today's data-driven world.
It's amazing how much they've evolved. It's a testament to the ingenuity of the engineers and developers who have continued to innovate and push the boundaries of what these systems can do. But there's one more aspect of their evolution that I want to touch on: software development. Back in the day, programming those early mainframes must have been a completely different beast than it is now. So how has software development for mainframes kept pace with the changing landscape of the tech industry?
That's a really interesting area. And it ties into a concept you mentioned earlier, DevOps. You're right. Programming those early mainframes was a much more manual and time-consuming process. But as software development methodologies evolved, so did the tools and processes for creating and deploying software on mainframes. This is where DevOps comes in. It's a set of practices that emphasizes collaboration between software developers and IT operations teams to streamline the entire software development lifecycle.
So instead of working in silos, developers and operations teams are working together more closely. How has that changed the game for mainframes?
It's been revolutionary. DevOps has brought a more agile and iterative approach to mainframe software development, making it faster, more efficient, and more responsive to changing business needs. We've gone from those days of waterfall development, where projects took months or even years to complete, to a world where updates can be deployed much more frequently. This allows businesses to innovate faster, adapt to new market demands, and get the most out of their mainframe investments. It's like the difference between driving a vintage car and a modern sports car. Both can get you where you need to go, but the experience and efficiency are worlds apart.
I love that analogy. It's amazing to think about how mainframes have gone from those early days of punch cards and manual programming to embracing modern software development practices like DevOps. But speaking of modern concerns, we've talked a lot about the technological advancements, but what about the environmental impact? With all that processing power, mainframes must be massive energy hogs, right?
That's a really important question, especially as businesses are increasingly focused on sustainability. And you might be surprised to learn that mainframes might actually be part of the solution rather than the problem. While they do require energy to run, they can be more efficient than vast, sprawling data centers.
How so? That seems counterintuitive, given their power and the sheer volume of data they handle.
It all comes down to consolidation. A single mainframe can handle the workload of hundreds, if not thousands, of smaller servers. Think about it. Fewer physical servers translates to a smaller physical footprint, which requires less energy for cooling and maintenance.
So instead of having a bunch of smaller parties happening all over the place, it's more like one big, well-organized gathering.
Exactly. And this consolidation not only reduces the overall energy consumption, but also lowers the carbon footprint, making mainframes a surprisingly eco-friendly choice for businesses looking to minimize their environmental impact.
So it's not just about what mainframes can do, but how they do it. They're like the eco-friendly workhorses of the tech world, powerful, yet surprisingly efficient.
Precisely. And as we move towards a more sustainable future, that balance is going to be more important than ever.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, so far we've busted some myths about mainframes, explored their history and evolution, and uncovered their surprising role in modern tech like cloud computing and AI. But we're not done yet. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve even further into the world of mainframes, uncovering even more fascinating insights and unexpected applications. So don't touch that dial.
Ready to go even deeper into the mainframe world.
You bet. I am officially hooked. We've talked a lot about what mainframes are, how they've evolved, but now I'm dying to know more about their superpowers. Let's talk about some specific applications. You mentioned that 70% of the world's production IT workloads rely on mainframes. What does that actually look like in the real world? Give us some concrete examples.
It always blows my mind, that statistic, because it just shows how much we rely on mainframes without even realizing it. Think about this. How many times a day do you interact with a system that requires rock solid reliability, lightning fast speed, bulletproof security?
Okay, let me see. Paying bills online, checking my bank balance,
Hmm.
booking a flight for our next deep dive adventure, the list goes on.
Exactly. And behind each of those everyday actions, a mainframe is likely working tirelessly behind the scenes. Take banking, for instance.
Mhm.
Every time you use an ATM, swipe your debit card, make an online transfer, you're interacting with a system that demands, like, the utmost security and reliability. That's where mainframes come in. They handle trillions of financial transactions daily, ensuring that your money is safe and that those transactions go through smoothly.
Wow, trillions. That's an insane amount of data being processed every single day.
Absolutely. And it's not just the volume of transactions, but the critical nature of the data itself. Financial institutions, they can't afford even a few minutes of downtime, let alone a security breach.
Right, the chaos that would ensue.
Yeah.
So besides keeping our finances in check, what other industries rely heavily on mainframes?
Oh, the list is vast. Healthcare is another great example. Imagine the amount of data generated by hospitals, healthcare providers every single day. Patient records, medical images, treatment plans, billing information. It's a massive amount of incredibly sensitive data. Mainframes are uniquely equipped to handle this kind of data-intensive environment, providing the security, the reliability, the processing power that healthcare providers rely on to deliver, quality care.
It's amazing to think that such a powerful technology is quietly working behind the scenes to support something as crucial as healthcare. Are there any other, surprising applications of mainframes that most people wouldn't even think of?
Absolutely. Think about the airline industry, for example. Ever booked a flight online or, checked in at the airport kiosk? Behind those seamless travel experiences is a complex web of systems, managing flight schedules, passenger data, baggage handling. Mainframes are the backbone of this intricate system. They're ensuring that planes take off and land on time, that millions of passengers reach their destinations safely and efficiently. And it's not just about booking flights. Mainframes are also used by airlines to optimize fuel efficiency, manage aircraft maintenance, even provide in-flight entertainment.
Wow, I had no idea. It's like they're the silent orchestrators of modern travel, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Okay, so mainframes are handling our finances, healthcare, travel plans. What about something a little closer to home, like online shopping?
You got it. Remember those Black Friday and Cyber Monday shopping frenzies?
Yeah.
Those massive spikes in online traffic and transactions? That would bring many e-commerce sites to their knees if it weren't for the power of mainframes. They handle everything from inventory management to order processing to customer data security.
So the next time I'm browsing for deals online, I can thank a mainframe for making sure my order goes through.
You got it. They're the unsung heroes of online shopping, ensuring a smooth and secure experience for both buyers and sellers.
Mainframes really are the backbone of our digital world.
Okay, so we've seen how mainframes are used in various industries, but let's talk a bit more about their role in shaping the future of technology. We've touched on cloud computing and AI, but what other emerging technologies are being powered by mainframes?
That's a great question. One area where mainframes are playing a crucial role is in the development and deployment of blockchain technology.
Blockchain, that's the technology behind it, like cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, right? Exactly. But blockchain's potential extends far beyond just digital currencies. It's essentially a secure and transparent way to record and track transactions and data, with applications ranging from supply chain management to healthcare records to even digital identity verification. And guess what? Mainframes, with their unparalleled security and reliability, are proving to be an ideal platform for running and scaling these blockchain networks.
So mainframes aren't just keeping pace with the latest tech trends, they're actively enabling and supporting the development of these groundbreaking technologies.
Precisely. And that brings us to another exciting area where mainframes are making a huge impact: quantum computing.
Okay, now we're talking next level stuff. Quantum computing is still pretty much in its infancy, right?
It is. But it has the potential to revolutionize fields like medicine, materials science, artificial intelligence. Quantum computers are incredibly powerful, but they also require specialized infrastructure and support. And guess what? Mainframes, with their ability to handle massive data sets and complex computations, are proving to be a valuable resource in this area as well.
So mainframes are not just about the here and now. They're also laying the groundwork for the future of computing. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And it's a testament to their adaptability and continued relevance in a rapidly evolving technological landscape.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite the journey exploring the fascinating world of mainframes. Who knew these technological workhorses were the silent force behind so much of our digital lives?
It really is remarkable, how mainframes have not only stood the test of time, but continue to evolve adapt to the ever-changing demands of the tech world.
Exactly. But like with any technology, there are always, challenges and opportunities on the horizon. So for this final part of our deep dive, let's put on our futurologist hats and explore, what the future holds for mainframes. What are some of the key trends, developments that will shape their trajectory in the years to come?
One of the most significant trends, I think, is this growing demand for skilled professionals, people who can actually manage, maintain these complex systems. As more businesses rely on mainframes, there's a growing need for a new generation of experts, people who understand both the legacy systems and the latest advancements in, mainframe technology.
That makes sense. It's like we need tech translators, people who can bridge the gap between the old and the new. So how is the industry addressing this skills gap?
Well, a lot of organizations are investing heavily in training and development programs to really equip their workforce with the necessary skills. There's also a big push to, attract younger generations to the field, showcasing the exciting career opportunities in mainframe technology. It's not your grandpa's tech anymore.
Definitely not. It sounds like there's a real opportunity to break down stereotypes and show that mainframes can be a dynamic and rewarding field to work in.
So besides the skills gap, what other challenges do you see on the horizon for mainframes? Security, that will always be a top concern, especially as, cyber threats become more sophisticated. Mainframe professionals, they'll need to stay ahead of the curve, constantly innovating, implementing, robust security measures to protect these critical systems from ever-evolving threats. It's an ongoing arms race.
Cybersecurity is definitely a cat and mouse game, but it sounds like mainframes with their layered security features are well positioned to stay a step ahead.
Absolutely. Another challenge is, the need to continuously innovate and evolve. To keep pace with the rapid advancements in other areas of technology, mainframes can't afford to become stagnant. They need to continue to integrate with new technologies like, cloud computing, AI, quantum computing, to remain relevant and competitive.
It's like that saying, adapt or die, right? Mainframes have clearly demonstrated their ability to adapt over the decades. What are some of the most exciting opportunities you see for mainframes in the coming years?
One area I'm particularly excited about, it has immense potential, is edge computing. As we move toward a world with billions of connected devices, all generating massive amounts of data, processing power, it's going to need to be closer to where the data is actually generated. That's where edge computing comes in. Mainframes, with their ability to handle high volumes of data with low latency, are well suited to play a significant role in edge computing environments.
So instead of all that data being sent back and forth to a central location, mainframes can provide the processing power right there at the edge where it's needed most.
Exactly. This will be crucial for applications like self-driving cars, smart cities, or remote healthcare monitoring, all these things where real-time processing is essential.
It's incredible to think that mainframes, which have been around for decades, are still at the forefront of these cutting edge technologies. It really speaks to their enduring power, adaptability.
I completely agree. And as we, wrap up our deep dive here, I think it's essential to remember that technological progress, well, it isn't always about chasing the newest, shiniest gadget.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most impactful innovations are the ones that, quietly and reliably power the systems we depend on every single day.
Truer words have never been spoken. Mainframes may not be the flashiest technology out there, but they are the unsung heroes of the digital age, quietly working behind the scenes to keep our world running smoothly. It's been an eye-opening journey exploring this fascinating world of mainframes. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and be sure to check back for more explorations into the fascinating world of technology. Until next time.